Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Emotional maturity. Last night we discussed how an emotionally mature person is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna calls him Sthita Prajna, a person of abiding wisdom. What does this wisdom do to this person? Describing his state of mind, Lord Krishna says, Atmaneva Atmana Tushtaha. He is completely satisfied with himself by himself. Self-satisfaction. There can be self-satisfaction when there is self-acceptance. When I accept myself, I approve of myself, I am happy with myself. So here is a person in whom there is a complete self-acceptance, who is totally satisfied with his own self. That being the case, he has become completely free from all needs and demands. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. And therefore, manogatan kaman, all the desires which normally arise in the mind, he has become totally prajahati, totally free from those desires, meaning that desires do not arise in his mind. Not that he does not desire, because not desiring is not in our hand. We do not have freedom not to desire. Desire arises in our mind, whether we like it or not. And therefore, he has thus acquired a mind, or he has created a mind in which desires do not arise. This is the reason why desires arise in our mind. A desire is an expression of inner lack, want, insufficiency, inadequacy. When I feel lacking, wanting within myself, I feel I'm insufficient, I'm inadequate, then right away there is a desire to become free from that sense of inadequacy. The I and inadequate, I and insufficient cannot go together. Meaning that I cannot accept myself, I cannot accept a self that is inadequate or insufficient. Meaning that I want to see myself as an adequate, sufficient person. This is our basic desire. The basic desire in our mind is to see ourselves as adequate, sufficient person. That's all I want. Therefore, whenever I find myself inadequate, insufficient, then that is quite different from how I want to see myself, how I would like to be. The inadequate, insufficient self is quite different from or opposite to what I want to be. what I want to see myself to be, what I like to be. And therefore, there is immediately a desire to become free from this inadequacy. Thus, generally speaking, a desire is an expression of inner inadequacy, inner insufficiency, and therefore inner dissatisfaction. So here this person has discovered a complete satisfaction from his own self and therefore has become totally free from the sense of inadequacy, insufficiency, and therefore the desires which are an expression of inadequacy have no place now. Therefore desires do not arise. It is not that he does not desire, that desires do not arise in his mind. Desires have left him, understand. Not that he has given up desires. You cannot give up desires. Desires have left him. So this is the picture of an emotionally mature person. And that is exactly what each one of us wants to be. So we have to consciously do things. Yesterday we said that I am not happy when I find myself an angry person, or a jealous person, or a greedy person, or a hateful person, or a sad person. I do not like myself. All of those indicate sense of insufficiency, inadequacy, incompleteness, wanting, lacking. Thus our life should ideally become a process of making ourselves free from all sense of inadequacy, incompleteness. The next question that Vedanta asks is whether this inadequacy or insufficiency or incompleteness that we feel within ourselves, is it a legitimate feeling? Meaning that, is incompleteness of nature? Is insufficiency, inadequacy, incompleteness, is it of nature and therefore we feel? Or perhaps our nature is somewhat different, something different, and still we feel differently about ourselves. This is a very amazing thing. What Vedanta draws our attention to is something most amazing, something that we would never suspect. That I am not what I take myself to be. My experience is that I am a lacking, wanting person, a needy person, and therefore I am a desiring person, a demanding person. The desires and demands all arise on account of my perception of myself that I am a lacking, wanting, inadequate person. That is my perception of myself. And the whole of our life is based on this perception. Our life is a constant struggle to become adequate, is a constant struggle to become sufficient. We do find moments of adequacy. There are moments of sufficiency when we feel happy. But those are fleeting moments. They do not last very much. Yes, we do become happy when our desire is satisfied. We do become happy when something desirable happens to us, like getting promoted, like getting a job, getting promotion, winning a lottery, whatever. But regardless of how great a thing I get, its effect is only temporary. Then I get used to it. I never expected I was a millionaire. I became a millionaire overnight. Something happened in the market and then I was so happy, ecstatic. For how long? 15 days, 1 month, 3 months. And that initial euphoria goes away and then my mind is, what next? there does not seem to be anything that has a capacity to give me a sustained sense of satisfaction. Things do appear to give me a temporary sense of satisfaction. Not that they don't give me, but nothing seems to have the capacity, not even becoming the President of the United States. That's the highest achievement that you can think of in the whole universe, I guess, today. I remember that Clinton, when they won, the second time, they said they were relishing, our win. So for a couple of days they went away and relishing. How long will you relish? Until you face those Republicans and things like that, Until they're out to somehow disapprove, reject your plan of medical, whatever, they had come up with. No achievement seems to have the capacity to give me a sustained sense of satisfaction, and that's what I want. So Vedanta asks him, the whole universe, all the traditions, all religions, everything in the world accepts that the human being is inadequate, incomplete being, and therefore they show us ways of how to go to paradise, how to go to heaven, how to, get something which will always give you satisfaction forever. Vedanta is the one that questions our very perception of ourselves. All our struggle is based on our perception that we are incomplete, insufficient. Vedanta asks this question, is your perception true? Are you really incomplete? Really insufficient? Is that the reality about you? Or that your reality is something different? Our Swami used to draw our attention to one moment of happiness. One moment of happiness. Perhaps you are standing in front of a mountain, you are in a garden, a rose garden, you are with nature. There are moments when we just become very happy. When we are with nature. At that time my mind just becomes non-demanding, seems to discover a satisfaction. So where does that satisfaction come from? Not from some achievement, not from fulfilling some desire. It just happens. That is the experience of ourselves. They are the moments when we experience our true self. And therefore, these moments of happiness reveal our true nature. It's quite likely that in the day of 24 hours, for 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, I may be an unhappy person. And there will be 1 second of happiness in a day. Vedanta says that 1 second reveals your true nature. We generally go by the majority that normally I am a sad person, therefore sadness is my nature. But if a very sad person also now and then becomes happy, forgets his sadness. There are moments. When somebody tells you a slapstick joke, you lose your self-consciousness. He is a person who thinks that he had very ugly teeth. And therefore, those days they didn't have all these, what do you call them? Those braces and things like that, So you are stuck with it for the whole of your life. And he was quite embarrassed about himself, and therefore he would avoid showing his teeth, laughing. In case, he would always cover his face. Even that person is so self-conscious. When he hears a slapstick joke, one man says to his servant, Hey, what are you doing standing here? Go and water the plants in the garden. Servant says, but sir, it is raining. Hey, take an umbrella and go. So when you hear something like this, you didn't laugh, I'm surprised, but anyway, usually people laugh at this kind of a joke. I don't know whether I communicated properly or not, but anyway. So then he just laughs and then he remembers, meaning there are moments when you become free from self-consciousness, all kinds of complexes. And that moment when I'm free from all complexes, all self-conscious, that reveals my true nature. And that means that Vedanta says that happiness is your nature. And that's the reason why you're desiring happiness. That's the reason why you're not happy with unhappiness. If unhappiness was my nature, I would have been happy with unhappiness, Everything is comfortable with its own nature. Fire is comfortable being hot, ice is comfortable being cold, and so also, if unhappiness or inadequacy was my nature, I would have been comfortable with it. I'm not. So there is something in ourselves that seems to be inhibiting the manifestation of our true nature. And what is that? Ignorance. How does the ignorance manifest? In terms of raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. Therefore, usually we are controlled by our likes and dislikes, we are controlled by our emotions. I am controlled by emotions such as anger, controlled by jealousy, controlled by greed, controlled by hatred, controlled by sadness. I am controlled by these emotions, which rather should be called impulses. This being controlled by impulses would be called emotional immaturity. So what happens at that time? At that time, our free will has no role to play. As human beings, we are endowed with free will, freedom of choice. And that is really the distinction that we enjoy as compared to all other creatures. All creatures other than human beings are all programmed to conduct themselves in a certain way, and therefore there is no freedom to be different from the way they are programmed. A dog has no freedom to be different from a dog, and a cat has no different freedom from being different from a cat. So they're all predictable. Whole nature is predictable because it's programmed. Only one fellow is not predictable, and that's a human being. He's not completely programmed. We are not completely programmed. We have some freedom. And that freedom is given to us in order for us to grow. In order for us to really, as we said yesterday, that we are born with a certain goal. We are born with a certain agenda. Because people often ask this question, Swamiji, is there a purpose in life? Is there a goal in our life? Definitely there is a goal. There is a purpose. Every desire indicates a purpose, because the desire behind every desire is to become free from that sense of inadequacy. Even though every desire is different from other desires, like now there may be a desire for a glass of water, then there may be a desire for something else, and then there is desire, but every desire behind all the desires is only one, and that is the desire to become free from incompleteness, inadequacy, free from helplessness, free from bondage, free from dependence, free from helplessness. That's the desire behind all desires. And so, thus there is a purpose of life. What is the purpose of life? To fulfill this desire. Understand that nobody else is born with a desire. Desire is the privilege that human being has. Our Swami used to always make a point that desire is a privilege that a human being has. Although from a Vedantic teacher you always hear, give up your desires. Yeah. Usually Vedantic teachers will give up your desires. Our Swami would say that desire is a privilege that we have. You have a desire to go to a movie. Good, not that, I'm talking about that being a privilege, but that's a desire. But that desire that we have is a privilege, although it's not something desirable to have a desire. However, a desire reveals some basic need that I have, meaning that I am here to fulfill that basic need, to fulfill the desire behind the desires. And that is really the agenda or the purpose of our life. So we are born with a purpose. In fact, we believe in what we call the rebirth. We had a past birth and we have rebirth. Why do you have rebirth? Well, if at the end of this lifespan, I still depart from this body with this sense or feeling that my basic desire is not complete, then I'll be born again to complete that agenda. So Hinduism explains that we have a series of birth and death to complete that basic agenda. Until the agenda is completed, we'll keep on taking births. And this is happening from the time beginningless. We are not interested in the past, but the point is that this is an ongoing thing. Point is that we have a purpose in life. It's not that different people have different purpose. All human beings have one purpose. We may not know that because we are never given thought. So we think that the purpose of life is to become a doctor, to become a lawyer, to become an engineer, to become a millionaire, to become such and such thing. We think that's the purpose. But no, behind that purpose is only one thing. Another way to express the purpose of life. There is a very beautiful statement in one of the Upanishads. There's a dialogue between Sage Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi, where Sage Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi. It's very interesting how Maitreyi became the disciple of her husband. Yajnavalkya, of course, was known to be a great learned person and a wise person. And once Yajnavalkya calls Maitreyi and says, Maitreyi, I have decided to become a renunciate. I'm going to walk away from the house. I'll be a wandering monk. And you don't have to worry about your livelihood because I've left enough wealth for you, so you have nothing to worry about. So Maitreyi asked a very unusual question. He says, Sir, if I get the wealth of the whole earth, would I become immortal? Would I become adequate? Would I become immortal? Yajnavalkya says, no, my dear, that will not be. By wealth, you can live the life of a comfortable person, but you cannot become immortal. You cannot become complete. That you cannot be. So Maitreyi says, what use do I have with that wealth which will not make me complete, which will not make me immortal? What use that is? I don't want that wealth. You give me that, I see that you have that. I see that you have that completeness. Give me that. So Yajnavalkya was mighty pleased. He says, Maitreyi, you always been very dear to me, but today you are particularly dear. Because she has shown that viveka or discrimination. Today she revealed that she understands that what the purpose of life is. And Yajnavalkya makes a very beautiful statement before Maitreyi. Says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Hey Maitreyi, whatever is dear for the sake of the pleased self. Meaning that what you are seeking is the pleased self. Anything is dear to you. Don't think that a wife loves a husband for the sake of husband. A wife loves the husband for the sake of the pleased self. And similarly, husband also loves his wife for the sake of the pleased self. And that anybody loves anything only for one purpose, and that is for the pleased self. Meaning that I want to become a doctor, or an engineer, or a lawyer, or a millionaire, or a politician, or X, Y, Z, all of that is because I'm just seeking to be a pleased self. Meaning the desire, behind all the desires is to become a pleased self, an adequate self, a complete self. So that's the purpose. So what is maturity? Maturity is when our life becomes a process of fulfilling that purpose. That doesn't become a waste. We don't squander away the great opportunity that we have. Vedanta talks a great deal about this opportunity. Says that, look, you gain this human body. Mahata punya panyena kriyatayam kayanaustvaya. This human body is like a boat which you have purchased by expending a lot of punya karma. See, when we depart from this body, Ishvara God has a huge superstore of all kinds of garments or all kinds of costumes. 8.4 million kinds of costumes are there for you to choose from. But you have to buy them. And what do you get? Depending upon what wealth you accumulated. To buy a human costume, which is the most expensive costume, we have to spend a lot of punya karma. Meaning that mahata punya panyena kriyat. So we have purchased this human body by expending lots of punya karma. Therefore, what for is it? Mahata punya panyena kriyatayam kayanaustvaya. This the boat of the nature of the body is for crossing this ocean of samsara. Tarayavanna vidyate. Better cross the ocean before this body, before this boat falls apart. So this is a very expensive, sensitive equipment that we have, and therefore it must be properly used. Upanishad condemns those people who waste away this. Therefore, emotional maturity is the process and the purpose of life. And it's a very simple thing. As we say, that completeness is our nature, but this ignorance and these emotions or impulses born of ignorance deny us of the enjoyment of happiness which is our nature. So what we need to do is to conquer these impulses, conquer these emotions. Lord Krishna reduces all the impulses to these two, raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. So usually we are controlled by our raga dveshas, our attachments and aversions. And what we need to do is to become free from their hold. Bhagavad Gita says, Prakritim yanti bhutani, all the beings follow their nature. So Arjuna would ask the question, oh Lord, if everybody is controlled by their nature, then what do we have to do in our life? I mean, we cannot control, we cannot become free from that control of nature? Lord Krishna says you can. What is that nature? Raga, Dvesho, Vivastito. Raga and Dvesha is what we call this Prakriti. Tayor Navashamagachet. Make sure that you do not come under their sway. Do not come under the sway of anger. Do not come under the sway of greed. Do not come under the sway of jealousy. Do not come under the sway of all these negative, demoniac tendencies. And slowly becoming free from their hold is called emotional maturity. How do we do that? How do we, Swamiji, get rid of anger? How do we get rid of greed? How do we get rid of jealousy? So Vedanta would explain that this anger, this greed, this jealousy, all of these have a reason to be there. They are effects. They are not causes but effect. Effect can be removed when the cause is removed. In our garden, we can remove the weeds only when we can remove their seeds. If we just cut them from the top, then they'll keep on growing again and again. And therefore, you should uproot them. You remove the cause for the effect to go. I remember a funny event when I was small. We were living in a town, and our family would sit down about 7 o'clock in the morning for tea. And my father was fond of reading newspaper, so he subscribed a newspaper. It would be delivered in the morning, and he would read the newspaper. We had a neighbor. He started coming early morning to our house, just at the tea time. He would come 10 minutes before my father came. The newspaper is delivered. He would grab that newspaper before it goes into anybody's hand, and he would start reading for half an hour. And nobody would get it. We requested him, so and so, please give this newspaper to my father to read. He said, no, let me finish first. You can't get rid of him. So we'll give you we'll deliver it at your home. He says, no. So he would come, have newspaper, have a cup of tea also. Not that tea mattered, but this, so what to do? It just happened that one morning this person comes to our home, looks for the newspaper, does not find it. Says, what happened? Said, I don't know, it has not come. Second day came, third day came. You know what we did? We discontinued newspaper. Then that fellow stopped coming. Cause goes away, the effect goes away. That's a simple rule. We should know that. Just to take the case of anger, for example, anger is an effect, not a cause. Secondly, anger comes, it's not that we get angry. Yesterday we told about this. Not that we get angry, it is anger that gets us. Yesterday we said that we cannot deliberately become angry. You try to become angry, you cannot become angry. Anger happens. It takes hold of us. And therefore, what's the reason why anger comes? Anger comes for a reason. Why does it come? So question is, when do I get angry? Whenever my demand is not satisfied, whenever my expectation is not satisfied, then I become angry. Why should I become angry? My expectation is not satisfied, all right, but no. I demand that my demand should be satisfied. My expectation should be satisfied. Not satisfied, I get angry. So what should I do? Give up expectation? Give up demand? The anger will not come. So this is a simple thing. All relationships, they all get ruined only on account of just one simple thing, and that is what? Expectation. Each one has an expectation of the other. The husband has an expectation of the wife, wife has an expectation of the husband. Nothing wrong in having expectation. But the problem is that we also expect that our expectation should be complete. We demand that our demand should be met with, and we are so identified with our demand, so identified with our expectation, that when my expectation is rejected, I feel rejected. So understand that just taking case of an anger is because I feel a sense of being rejected. In fact, I do not get angry at you. I get angry at myself. I have a problem with myself. Whenever I am rejected or I feel that I am rejected, I become frustrated with myself because I cannot have my way, because I cannot control, and therefore I get frustrated with myself, and that frustration with myself results into anger at you because I hold you responsible for my frustration. It's a sense of rejection that causes anger in me. So when you understand this mechanism, then we know how to really slowly become free from anger. How not to feel rejected. How not to be identified with my demands. How not to be identified with my opinions. How not to be identified with my expectations. We are so identified with our opinions that when somebody rejects my opinion, I feel I am rejected. I am so identified with my expectation. When somebody rejects my expectation, I feel rejected. I am so identified with my demands. When somebody rejects my demands, I feel rejected. Just create a distance. Our Swami used to talk about a two-step response. Normally, when somebody makes me angry, my reaction is to retort with anger. You reject me, you know what is anger? Anger is my attempt to reject you. Therefore, your rejection of me is responded by my rejection of you. And I get angry, I insult you, and I reject you, and then I feel a satisfaction. That is called an impulsive response. That anger only breeds anger. Then you further get angry. Then I further get angry. And that's how the whole thing just builds up. In Mahabharata, there is a very interesting series of events that are shown. How anger and hatred only leads to hatred. These two persons, one was a prince, his name was Drupada. And other was a Brahmin, his name was Drona. Dronacharya and Drupada. They were in the same Gurukulam and they were both friends. Drona, the Brahmin boy, was very bright, brilliant. Drupada was not that bright. So Drona would always help him, I guess with his homework and whatever it is, and that's how Drupada also cleared his tests. And so, when they graduated, Drupada was very, very grateful of Dronacharya. And he generously offered, Drona, when I become the king, I'll give you half of my kingdom. And then they separated. Many years passed. Dronacharya was a Brahmin. A Brahmin means poor, Daridra. He had one son, his name was Ashwatthama. Dronacharya was so poor that he could not even afford to give milk to his son. And so the Ashwatthama's mother would mix some wheat flour in water and make it look like milk and give it to this boy. He thought he was getting milk. Someday he went to some neighbor where he drank real milk. Then he realized that my mother is cheating me. He came back and says, Mom, you're cheating me. I want milk. And mother was so sad. She told her husband, come on now. We can't even do this for our child. I'm sorry, what can I do? But you are saying that Drupada was your friend, and so what happened? None of that. So why don't you go and, like that Kuchela was sent to Lord Krishna, similarly Drona was sent to Drupada. Against his will he went there. That time Drupada is king, and Dronacharya enters his court and introduces himself that Drupada, I am Drona. Says, who is Drona? Hey, don't you remember we were friends? I don't remember. Drupada is insulted in front of everybody and is sent back. And he is angry. He says, okay, I'll take revenge. And it happened that Drupada became the guru of this Pandavas and all the prince Kauravas. When these children were playing with ball, and the ball went into a well, and all the children, Pandavas, Kauravas, the princes, they did not know how to retrieve that ball from that well. And Drupada happened to pass by. He saw these children and said, what's the matter? So our ball has fallen into the well. You want me to retrieve it for you? He says, yes. So Dronacharya was a master archer. You know what he did? He took some grass strings, joined them one by one. That's how he made a rope, and he tied that ball from the well. And these princes are most amazed. They ran to their great-grandfather, Bhishma Pitama, said, here, look at this, is what he did. So Bhishma Pitama appointed him as a teacher. And that's how he became the teacher of these Pandavas and Kauravas, princes. When the graduation came, and came the time of Guru Dakshina, Arjuna was of course declared as the most brilliant student. He says, what can I do for Guru Dakshina? So Guru Drupada, defeat him and bring him here. Arjuna goes, defeats Drupada, brings him, and is made to fall at the feet of Dronacharya. Says, what you did to me in the, okay, I let you go. I'm only taking half of your kingdom. Let you go. Run, get away. Drupada is insulted. All right. Drupada performed a homa to get a son who will kill Dronacharya. That's how it was Drishtadyumna. In the battle of Mahabharata, Drishtadyumna killed Dronacharya not in a unfair manner. His son Ashwatthama heard that Drishtadyumna has killed my father, I'll kill him. And so this fellow goes, Ashwatthama, to the Pandava camp and wants to kill all the 5 Pandavas. Unfortunately, the Pandava princes were there, he could not at night distinguish between them. He killed all the princes. Then Draupadi says, I want his head, See how the Dvesha keeps on going and going and going. Arjuna goes and brings this Ashwatthama before Draupadi. He says, what do you want me to do? Fortunately, Draupadi, the mother in her prevailed and said, no, just as I am grieving over the death of my sons, he also has his mother. I don't want to kill him. Just release him. He was released. And that is when it stopped. But the point is how dvesha, krodha, all of these, they just perpetuate. The whole world is, we can see that's what's going on everywhere. Kama, krodha and lobha, Lord Krishna identifies this as the three great inner enemies of the human being. Kama means lust, krodha means anger, lobha means greed. We can see the whole world suffering from only these three. All the rapes and all this kind of, the abuse that is taking place is due to kama or the lust. All the cruelty and the killing that's going on is due to krodha, the anger. And all corruption and dishonesty is due to lobha, the greed. That's all. Remove these three, the whole world will become what? It will become Nandana, it will become Brahmaloka. Is it not so? All of this is emotional. That makes us miserable. The cause of our misery is not out there, it's all inside us, as we said yesterday. And Lord Krishna says, Trividam, Nadakasnedam, Dvaram Nashanam. This threefold is the gateway to hell. Atmana Nashanam, that destroys yourself, meaning destroys all your inner energy. It destroys your willpower, it destroys your inner strength, it makes you weak and incapable of doing anything. These three never give up these three. So emotional maturity would be to become free from this kama, krodha, lobha, or raga, dvesha. What program does Bhagavad Gita give for that? Bhagavad Gita provides a beautiful program for this. We become helpless when we come under the sway of these impulses of kama, krodha or lobha. Understand? We become helpless. So what should we do? Lord Krishna says, look, in every situation, there is something that you can control and something that you cannot control. Lord Krishna says there are certain realities of life. And first thing to do is that we have to respect the realities of life. We have to accept the realities of life and we develop a comfort with the realities of life. We resist. We often reject the realities of life when those realities they do not fulfill our expectations or demands. Meaning that when things out there are such that I don't like them, I reject it. For example, I perform an action and I'm not successful. Suppose I did not succeed in my attempt, there is a failure, I don't like it, I don't accept it. Somebody near and dear passes away, there is a death, I don't accept it. Something happens to me, some kind of illness takes over me, I don't accept. Why me? When I ask this question, why me? Meaning that I do not accept it. So one of important problems that we have is non-acceptance of the realities of life. Two things are there. One, not properly understanding the realities of life, and secondly, having even understood, not accepting the realities of life. Therefore, maturity has two aspects. One is understanding the realities of life, that's called intellectual maturity, and secondly, developing a comfort with the reality of life, that's the emotional maturity. Intellectual maturity. What is that? That there are certain things that I can control, certain things I do not control. This is what we call the prarabdha and purushartha, destiny and free will. A constant debate going on forever. In all satsangs, half the questions are pertaining to these two, about destiny and free will. Swamiji, is there something called free will? Or is there only destiny? Many people have become so frustrated in life that they believe that there is no free will, Swamiji. There is only destiny. Everything seems to be predetermined. So the question is there free will in our life? Or is it all destiny? Answer is, there are both of them. Destiny also is there and free will also is there. What is destiny and what is free will? So our elder Swamiji gave a very simple explanation. What you confront is destiny and the way you respond is the free will. What you confront is destiny because you don't control it. What you confront is you don't control. The universe is there in front of you, you don't control that. You have a body, you don't control that. You are born in certain parentage, no control. You have siblings, no control. You have a boss, you don't control. You have a spouse, you don't control. You cannot, most of the things you don't control. What we do not control is destiny. But the way we respond to what we do not control. Understand that with the freedom to respond to what we do not control. You do not control your boss, but you have freedom to respond to your boss. You do not control the universe. You have freedom to respond to the universe. So Lord Krishna explains this in a very famous words. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Everybody knows. If you ask, do you know Bhagavad Gita? I know Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavad Gita? Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So people think that they know Bhagavad Gita. Of course, if you know this, you know a good amount of Bhagavad Gita, provided you understand what the statement means. But karmaneva adhikaraha te. Adhikara means freedom. Karmane with reference to action. Te means you have the freedom with reference to performance of an action. What is the freedom? Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. The freedom to do something, freedom not to do something, and freedom to do it the way you want. That's the problem. The freedom is a great privilege and the freedom is a great problem. Freedom, when used with responsibility, becomes a great privilege. Freedom without responsibility is a great curse. It can be a blessing, it can be a curse. This is where the human being is. This free will that we have is a two-edged sword, meaning that by the proper use of the free will, we can bless ourselves. By abusing the free will, we can hurt ourselves. Whether to help ourselves or hurt ourselves. Both human being has done. By proper use of free will, human being has blessed the whole mankind. And all that we have right now is the result of the proper use of free will. What a wonderful, how much development human being has. And you keep on hearing what great strides in the medical field, in the scientific field, and this field and that field. Amazing. At the same time, there is equal abuse, World War I, World War II, and all kinds of wars going on everywhere, all kinds of cruelties going on everywhere. All of this is abuse of free will. So use of free will and abuse of free will. Both of these are possible. That is why Lord Krishna says, Karmanyevadhikaraste, you have the freedom to perform action. When the freedom, understand that you have a responsibility. So first thing that Lord Krishna teaches is that you wisely use your freedom in performing your actions. That will be maturity. We perform actions all right. We use freedom all right, but more often than not, we abuse our freedom. Meaning that we do not perform actions the way we should have been performing them. So first thing the Lord Krishna teaches is perform actions, it's your responsibility, and use your free will in the responsible way. Oh Lord, what is the responsible way of using the free will? Lord Krishna says, look at me. Look, I am the example for you. Look at you, who are you? Lord Krishna says, I am Krishna, or as Lord, I am the very creator of the whole universe, and I am the very whole universe also. Bhagavad Gita gives a very beautiful, a unique perception about God. Quite different from the perception of God that other traditions give us. Most of the other religions tell us that God is the creator of the universe, which is fine. But He is a creator someplace in the heaven. Meaning that He is different from the universe. Sitting up there, He controls the affairs of the universe. They say that God is in heaven, He controls the universe. You know something? By the way, Vedanta says that you cannot control anything that is different from you. Just by the way, you cannot control anything that is different from you. For example, take the case of a pot maker. He takes a lump of clay and makes a pot, right? Please tell me what decides what is made from a pot, from lump of clay. Who decides what is made from that? Is it the pot maker who decides or the clay that decides? Pot maker decides. Can pot maker decide to make idlis out of that clay? Can decide to make rasgulla out of that? Or chapati out of that? Can he? Who decides? Who decides what is made out of clay? Clay decides. Even when the pot maker makes a pot, it's a rearrangement of the clay. You know, the clay formerly was in the form of a lump. It is rearranged as a pot. Pot maker has no freedom to do anything from the clay other than what the clay permits him to do. He cannot control the clay, understand? He can use his freedom to intelligently form the clay and make it useful, but he cannot, you understand, he cannot control the clay. What can you control? You can't control your child, teenager child. Why teenager? You can't control even a 3-year-old child. I told you earlier, this 4-year-old small boy. So we are all seated in the drawing room and this fellow is watching TV. So I requested him, I said, can you please switch off the TV? He said, I'm a Swami. This is a little thing. And he tells me, do I have to? I can't control this little thing. You cannot control anything I can control my hand at the most. Because it is myself. What can I control? That which is not different from me. I cannot control anything that is different from me. You understand this? To say that God is in the heaven and controls the whole universe is not logical to a Vedantin. You follow? You call him controller, ordainer, governor, etc. You call him. But how? Logically it doesn't make sense to me. You can control something that is not separate from you. Simple rule. Therefore, for Ishvara or God to control the universe cannot be different from him. This you never heard before, but so therefore Vedanta says that Ishvara is not only the maker, he is also the material of this universe. Meaning that the universe is not separate from Ishvara. They say God is sitting there and pervades the whole universe. How can you pervade? If you are separate from the universe, how can you pervade the universe? When you buy a pot, thank God that you don't have to buy a pot maker, isn't it? You don't have to bring him home. Otherwise our home will be full of pot makers and tailors and carpenters and all kinds of things if you needed to bring maker along with the material. Maker is different from material. But that is a rule in this universe, this day-to-day life. But you can't apply that rule to the universe. I mean, what we observe in the day-to-day life, they apply to universe also, that just because here the maker is different from material, therefore in universe also maker is different from material. But this maker does not pervade the material. Pot maker does not pervade the pot. Meaning that if you buy the pot, you bring the clay home all right, not the pot maker. If you say that God pervades the universe, can he be separate from the universe and pervade the universe? Not logically. Logically, he has to be, only material will pervade the effect, not the maker. Clay will pervade the pot, not the pot maker. Only if God is clay, then he can pervade the universe of the nature of the pot, not otherwise. So to make statement that he pervades the universe, he controls the universe, all of this will not make sense to us when you take God to be separate from the universe. So Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita explains that Ishvara is not only the maker, he is also the material. You know what it means is that this universe is not separate from Ishvara. Ishvara pervades everything. Not only pervades, Ishvara alone is manifest in the whole universe. Unbelievable. You mean Swamiji, you are God? Suppose I say I am God. You might out of respect say all right, but I am God. This only my neighbor is God. My boss is God. What are you talking? Our Swami used to say very nicely, you don't have to believe in God, you have to understand God. As far as all other religions are concerned, you have to believe in God, because He is in heaven. Think you will never see Him. As long as you are in this body, you can never see Him. So let's talk of belief. Two kinds of belief. Verifiable belief and non-verifiable belief. The God is in heaven is a non-verifiable belief. You cannot verify as long as you are in this body. After dying, if you happen to go there, then you will verify. If you go to hell, you will never verify. And the way we live life, I think, no, anyway you will qualify to go to heaven. Unfortunately for them, there is only one lifetime. That's the problem. For us, it's all right if you could not do it in this life, the next one. You could not next one. There's only one lifespan. There was no previous birth, there's no new birth, and therefore it's too small, too short a time to accomplish such a huge thing of achieving God. Nobody can do it in one lifetime. But that's all you have according to them. Not that we are interested in condemning, all we are interested in this, how, the thing is, how logical and how proper our understanding of Ishvara and all our understanding is. We have nothing against anybody else's understanding. If they are happy with them, we are happy, no problem, we don't want. But while you are listening to Vedanta, you should understand the glory of Vedanta, the glory of Vedas. It's not an ordinary tradition. Unfortunately, Hindus are most uninformed about Hinduism. And therefore the problem with Hindus is that people are very embarrassed to claim or to admit that I am a Hindu. Because you don't understand what great and what wonderful tradition we have. There is no education system. Nobody educates us in our own religion. But this is a basic education about Ishvara. He is manifested in the whole universe. Meaning that it is not an unverifiable belief. It's a verifiable belief. God is not to be believed in. He is to be understood. See, you have to believe something which you are right now not experiencing, which you will experience later, you have to believe. No belief is required for what you are experiencing. Understanding is required. Meaning that when they tell us that what is God. It's a big thing. Our Swami would say that Hindus worship not many gods. Hindus worship not even one God. Hindus worship only God. Meaning that there is nothing but Ishvara. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma, Upanishad says, all there is Brahman, all there is Ishvara, all there is divine, all there is wonderful, all there is whole and complete and limitless, all there is beautiful. Each one of us is divine, limitless, beautiful, wonderful. And then to bring to manifestation the true nature is the real purpose of life. That's called maturity. So huge task is given to us. But first to understand that there is a task and what that task is. What the true purpose of life is. So that we don't squander away. When the goal is not clear to us, then it's quite likely that we may squander our efforts in some perceived or imagined goals of life. So first thing that should become clear to us is that number one, there is a purpose of life. That we are born with a goal or purpose, and that our life should become a process of fulfilling that purpose, fulfilling that goal. And this human equipment is specifically made for that purpose. Even people who do not believe in God also have to now, if they just understand a little bit what a wondrous creation this is, then you have to but believe there has to be God. All great scientists, I should not solve, but many great scientists have expressed their opinion that we have to accept God. Because the way the universe is cannot be explained in any way. This business of natural selection, etc., is far from satisfactory in explaining this wondrous universe. But still, as far as they are concerned, still God is somewhere else, different. Vedanta goes a step further. What is Ishvara? Meaning that each one of us, sentient, insentient, whatever there is manifestation of same divine. You heard this verse, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva vasishyate. Purnamadaha, that Ishvara is Purnam. Purnamidam, this fellow also is Purnam. I'm Purnam? Says yes. Purnat Purnam udachyate, because from the Purna alone can give rise to only Purnam. See, when you start creating something, all that you have is Purnam. So what will you create? There is no Apurnam anywhere. There is no incompleteness at all. Therefore, where will you bring incompleteness? So whatever is has to be complete. How can I be complete? That is to be understood. First of all, you have to begin with this. Yes, Upanishad says that you are complete. I can be complete. How? Let us understand. That is how jnanam comes, Why jnanam or knowledge is most important? Is because all we need in our life is to understand what is, and that is enough to achieve the purpose for which we are born. Purnamadaya Purnameva vasishyate. Purnat Purnam udachyate. Purnam comes from Purnam. How? So Upanishad tells us a story. The story is like this. In the beginning of creation, Ishvara thought. He desired. So kamayata. He desired. Bahusyam prajayeti. May I become many, may I be born as the universe. Thus Srishtva, he created all this universe, the names and forms, all these costumes he first created. Tadeva anupravishada, having created costume, he entered every costume. Like a bird enters a nest. So first the bird creates a nest and then enters. We create a house, then we enter. So God has though created all these houses. He created countless houses. Each one of this is a house. Having created, he entered. Therefore for us, even body also is the temple of God. Our Swami would say that so all our tradition reflects this. That this dot here on the forehead is not a mark of beautification or something. It is a mark of worship. Why do you choose this particular spot? Well, that is some spiritual reason. That Satan is the seat of the Lord. It's a spiritual center, and that's why we put a dot there. And then here and there, all of these marks with whether vibhuti, etc., all of these is nothing but worshipping Ishvara, who is in this temple of the body. So he created the temple first and entered. Traditionally, where does the Lord enter a temple? You know that? Who enters from the top? The Murti ideally is brought from the top. Lord Krishna, when he went from Mathura to Dwarika, he went to Dwarika. You know how he went? He flew, he entered, came down. So Upanishad says God also entered this Dwarika. From where? From the top, from here. So he opened this and entered. The way of describing the thing is that the one who obtains in his body is none other than Ishvara. Because he alone is. He has nothing else other than himself to do anything. He himself became all of this. In you, in me, in everything, including a mosquito, including whatever there is, what is Ishvara. Forget about mosquito, talk about ourselves, to bring to manifestation that Ishvara, that divinity, that wholeness, fullness, that is the purpose. And for that simple thing that are given to us. So Lord Krishna says, so we ask him, when you say to Lord, when you say to me, O Lord, that perform your action in a responsible manner, what do you mean? So look at me, how responsible I am. Look at the whole universe. I manifest as the whole universe and see how I am functioning. According to you also function. So it demonstrates how we should conduct ourselves. In the form of the universe, Ishvara demonstrates how we should conduct ourselves. That conduct is called dharma. And therefore, you conduct yourself in keeping with the dharma of the life. What is that dharma? We'll continue our discussion tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.